Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. So today we are going to be talking about assistive technology, and my research question looked at how assistive technology can help students who have difficulties writing. I work in a district where I teach small group reading and ELA, and my students really struggle with writing. And so I was just kind of curious to what assistive technology is out there that would be beneficial for them. So just kind of looking at what assistive technology is. So assistive technology is tools and programs and services that allow students and adults, but we're kind of looking more at students in this case. It allows them to access the general education curriculum, and it allows them to do things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do without it. So this assistive technology can be both simple and complex. It can be high tech and low tech. It really depends on the student's needs. Typically, the IEP team determines what assistive technology would be beneficial for the student. So the team would determine, yes, the student needs assistive technology and what that would look like. So assistive technology is legally bound by IDEA and FAPE, because AT allows students to make progress within the classroom. So that would follow, assistive technology would fall under IDEA. Some 504 plans can also have assistive technology under it, but it doesn't necessarily always happen that way. So assistive technology can be provided by the school and by the parents if necessary. It really depends on what the student's needs are. So a little bit more about assistive technology. It can be high tech or low tech, like I said before. Low technology it's very low cost, it's easy to implement, and there's very little training needed. So this could be highlighters and pencil grips and line readers, stuff like that, that it's really easy to access. The student doesn't need much training and the teachers don't need much training. But high technology is definitely more expensive. You're looking at more complex programs. You're going to have to train more people, teachers, the student, and probably the family. But there can be a range. So there can be a range from high tech to low tech. There's so many in between options too. It really depends on the student and the student's needs. AT can be provided, can be categorized based on their functions. So is it for academic reasons, or is it for life skills that they really just need extra help and support with? So there, it also can be a combination that you can use low tech and high tech together. So maybe you're using both to support the student, which is awesome. It's very beneficial. So AT can provide cognitive support if a student is struggling. So these supports are really put in place to help students be successful. They wouldn't be successful otherwise if they didn't have these technology and supports. So some people that you could reach out to about these supports are your special education teacher, your occupational therapist, and the speech and language pathologist. All these people have definitely have experience with some type of assistive technology, or they can find you the resources that you need to help a student with assistive technology. So any tool that a teacher uses or a student uses that allows the student to access the curriculum and allows the student to be successful is considered assistive technology, even if you think it's so simple, like a paper clip or a pencil grip, sorry. Those things are considered assistive technology, but they're just a low tech. They're on that range. It can be a low tech, high tech, but if it's helping a student be successful and access and learn, it's considered assistive technology, which I think is important because I think that can be confusing to some people. But I think it's important to note that. All right. So I chose 5 different assistive technologies for writing. I've used some of these personally in my classroom, and others I wish I had used and I'm going to start using in the future. So the use of speech to text. This is awesome because it's right on Google. So students have access to it and it's free, which is really awesome. It's works really well for students who have good verbal communication. If they can verbally express themselves, they are able to that you can use their voice to type out their sentences. It is important to remind students that they need to go back and revise their work after using speech to text. I've used this with some of my kids and they forget to put periods, they forget to capitalize their letters, and you have to go back and have them revise because if they don't, it's just one big long run-on sentence. So it's definitely very beneficial for students. The use of a graphic organizer allows students to organize their thoughts and ideas. It also provides a visual and it helps them understand what they want to write about. And this would definitely be more of a low tech technology. So, but there's online programs or you can do a paper one. So there's definitely options for different graphic organizers. So word prediction. I thought this one was absolutely amazing. I definitely have not used it with my students, but I think it would be very beneficial because a lot of these students who are having difficulties writing have issues spelling. And so the word prediction really helps them figure out the word, and it doesn't block them from stuff, like it doesn't give them a writer's block or get frustrated. It helps them figure out the word and then continue on writing. So I think word prediction is definitely beneficial. So using computers rather than handwriting, I think is definitely more prominent now with COVID-19 than it has in the past. Kids are definitely on the computers way more often and they're typing. But it's definitely beneficial for students to be able to have that option to type rather than handwriting. Because it definitely can be easier, and it's not, some students have issues with their fine motor skills and they really just have difficulties handwriting. And so computers allow students to type and access different tools on the computer that they really don't have when you're handwriting. And like you can copy and paste and all different features that a computer allows you to use that a piece of paper really doesn't. And some low-tech assistive technology that I thought are very beneficial is just like specialized pencils, paper with like raised lines or bigger margins, and pencil grips. So those are my 5 that I thought were super beneficial for students to help them be successful when writing. So how does assistive technology help with writing? So assistive technology helps students write more independently. They are able to produce more writing when they have these tools. They are able to organize their thoughts and ideas better than they could without them. These tools also are very visual, which allows the students to understand more what's going on. So it makes things that are more abstract a little bit more concrete, which is definitely helpful for students with disabilities. Word prediction can help students write sentences independently and completely. They can write a full sentence without getting stuck in the middle and getting frustrated and having a meltdown. Because spelling can definitely be frustrating for some students. The assistive technology gives students the opportunity that they wouldn't have without it. Text to speech allows students to listen to what they wrote and revise their work. So I definitely have done this in the past. I'm like, all right, read your paper out loud. And students struggle with that. So listening to their paper read aloud to them allows them to go back and like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Let me revise that. So this is definitely one way that students can help them, like, help them through the writing process. Um, a lot of these programs are on Google for free, which makes them really accessible and available for all students, which is so important because all students need the ability to access these tools and these programs. Um, these additional tools help students reach the rigorous standards. So it's really important that our students with disabilities are being able to still interact and learn grade level content, even if they are using the AT to help support them. So I looked at two different articles. My first article was Reading, Writing, and Assistive Technology, an integrated developmental curriculum for college students. So I know I've been kind of looking at assistive technology for kids my age, but I found this article about college students, which I thought was really relevant with almost finishing up my master's degree. And I think personally, my writing skills have developed tremendously over the course of this past year through this program. So it was a case study on two students who they did not have the reading and writing skills that college typically requires. So these two students were enrolled in a developmental reading and writing course where they were given assistive technology. They were given word prediction, text-to-speech software, voice recognition software, and word processing, but they also had low-tech assistive technology like organizers, highlighters, and text readers. Both students were enrolled in Wilson reading programs, which helped with their reading, which also helps with their writing. One of the students, his spelling increased tremendously, which also made writing much more easier for him. So they were able to make tremendous progress through using the assistive technology and these new courses. So these students were able to increase their fluency in decoding and increase their comprehension, which was super awesome. And they were able to really develop their spelling and their writing. And they wouldn't have been able to be successful in college without these assistive technology and those developmental classes. So I thought that was a really amazing article that shows how these assistive technology is really important when writing. And these two students show how beneficial it is. These two adults, they got a college degree because they were able to access the information. So I thought that was extremely important. So when a student is struggling with writing, they're often having issues with reading, and vice versa. The Wilson Reading really helped these two students. I know my school has Wilson Reading, and these students make great progress. It taught students how to visualize and annotate what they read, and then helps them write coherent essays and formulate responses. So they both really used assistive technology to their advantage. So then the second article I looked at was free computer-based assistive technology to support students with disabilities in the writing process. So I was really amazed by how many free programs were out there that I had no idea about. I've heard of a few of them, and I've known the ones through Google, but there's so many out there that I didn't know of, and I know many other teachers are unaware of. And so I thought this article was super amazing because it provides teachers all of these different resources that you can use for students in the different steps of the writing process. So it looks at pre-writing, writing, and post-writing. So it looks at assistive technology for pre-writing. So pre-writing is looking at the organization, prior knowledge, and determining the audience. So some assistive technology that the authors said were free and were very beneficial were visual understanding environment, Holt's interactive graphic organizers, and read, write, think. So those are some things that help students with that pre-writing phase who, if that pre-writing is really where that student struggles, those are some tools that that student can utilize to help them in that pre-writing stage. So for during the writing stage, we are looking at developing sentences, developing paragraphs, formulating ideas, and really just kind of getting your thoughts on paper, which definitely can be a challenge for some students. So some programs that they included were speech to text, WordQueue, Idea Cruncher, and Read and Write. So those are some programs that help students in that writing process. And then we look at the post writing, which looks at like proofreading and revising the student's work, which definitely editing can definitely be challenging for students because sometimes they don't know what to look for. So post writing programs could include Grammarly and StyleWriter. I know I've used Grammarly with my students in the past, and it's definitely been beneficial because it's easy for them to use. The only thing is I know you can only have a free subscription for so long, and then it makes you get a new one. But these students definitely benefited from the different programs the different Grammarlys that I had used. So these different programs help students in the multiple steps of writing, because there's not just one step in writing, there's multiple steps, and students have difficulty at different steps. So a student that needs help in assistive technology and pre-writing doesn't necessarily need assistive technology and post-writing. They may be great at editing their work. It's just getting the work done and started might be the challenge for them. So I think it was really awesome that these were all free programs that these students can access. And some of them actually provided multiple languages, which I thought was really cool, because sometimes you don't see that with a free program. You often have to pay for something like that. So that was super cool. So all students deserve to have access to these tools. So providing the free options is really important because of students and families don't have the money, and school districts don't have a whole lot of money. So these free programs really allow students to have the opportunity to use the assistive technology to help them and assist them in the curriculum. So some students may need a more intensive program and not just one of these free ones, but this would kind of be determined by the IEP team. The IEP team will definitely look at the student's specific needs and what interventions need to be happening. So students can use these tools wherever they are, which I think is really awesome. If they're at home or if they're at school, which allows them, school doesn't end at the end of the day. School students have to go home and do homework. They have to write papers. They have to do so much stuff. So being able to use this technology in a variety of settings is really beneficial. And I think it's super awesome. I also think we need to make more teachers aware of all of these programs that are available for writing. Because I've been teaching writing for 3 years now, and I had no idea half of these existed. So I think it's really important that teachers are aware that these tools are out there for students. So kind of my final thoughts about assistive technology in writing. So assistive technology in writing is very beneficial. Students are able to write more independently, and they're able to produce more work than they would be able to without it. It really helps students be successful. It definitely helps them in their writing process. Making sure parents are involved and aware of the assistive technology that the student is using in your classroom is important. Because in that way, if a student goes home and like they want to continue using that assistive technology, the parent is aware and they can help them if needed. And assistive technology is really there to help provide students who are struggling academically and provide the additional supports that the student might need. So overall, assistive technology in writing is very beneficial. And there's a lot of tools and programs out there that help students. And this is my reference page. And that is all. Thank you.